Welcome back, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to this week's episode of The Chrysalis Effect. I am Monique White, your host, and here in The Chrysalis Effect, we are transforming mind, money, and manifestation. How is everyone doing? Well, I hope everyone is doing well. We want to continue on, or I want to continue on. Do you ever wonder why you always say we? I want to continue on in our series this week of letting go. Letting go. We are talking about letting go of things in 2022 that do not serve us. We already talked about fear, we talked about anger, and we're going to continue on with that. But before I do, I want to encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, hit that little notification button so you will be notified when I upload another video, and share. Share it out. Share it out to 3 people. Thank you. I so appreciate it. Well, as we continue on, this week I want to talk about procrastination. Procrastination. This is one thing that I need to get rid of. I don't know about you, but this is one thing that I need to get rid of. So, we want to talk about procrastination and why that doesn't serve you. Well, first of all, let's just start off with what is procrastination? Well, procrastination, the long and short of it, is putting things off. Putting things off. It's the act of delaying or postponing something. It's chronic avoidance, looking for distractions, either consciously or unconsciously. It's a mental block for you to move forward, to getting something done. Now, of course, since this is a faith-based show, I always wonder, what does the Bible say about this? What does God say about procrastination? Well, in Ephesians 5, it says, look carefully how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of time because the days are evil. Making the best use of time. Okay. What else does it say? Well, in another verse, in Luke 9, it says, to another he said, follow me. But he said, Lord, let me go first and bury my father. And Jesus said to him, leave the dead to bury their own. But as for you, go and proclaim the kingdom of God. Yet another said, I will follow you, Lord, but let me first say farewell to those at my home. And Jesus said to him, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. In other words, do it now. Get it done. Make the best use of time, right? That's my interpretation of it, my reading of it. Stop making excuses. So I wonder, where does procrastination come from? What is the root of it? Because it's coming from something. Well, one thing can be fear. Again, we talked about this last week. Fear of the unknown, fear of not being worthy, fear of maybe not having what it takes. Anxiety. Anxiety can be a reason. And to alleviate those things, you avoid it, because procrastination is an avoidance behavior. It makes you feel better. But here's the thing about all that. It only makes you feel better by avoiding something that is unpleasant. It only makes you feel better for a short period of time because that thing is still there. That thing is not going away. You just put it off for a short period of time. Additionally, it could be lack of discipline. You haven't put in place those good habits, those good practices. So there is no discipline to make sure that you get it done and get it done in a timely manner. And I know for myself, I tend to procrastinate. And I used to fool myself. And one of the excuses you can make is I work good under pressure. No, not really. No, not really. And sometimes I do it for a multitude of things, reasons. But typically, it's just something that you don't want to do, something unpleasant. So you procrastinate and you put it off. But the bottom line is, as I said before, it's still there. It still has to be done. And it's important to note here that procrastination is a choice. Procrastination is intentional. You make the decision not to do something that needs to be done. You make the decision to put off something or to avoid something. Think about that. Think about that. You have now, and I include myself in the you have now given power to the thing, to the circumstance, to the issue, rather than you standing in your power and your authority and taking control of the thing, the circumstance, the issue, right? It's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not the way God created us to be. So the effect of it all is things don't get done. Things don't get done. And you're piling things on top of another. For example, if you have things that you need to get done for the day and you put it off and you procrastinate it because there's only 24 hours in a day, you procrastinate it and now it gets put onto the next day's responsibility. So now you have even more to do the next day. And so that feeling is amplified, if you will. You set yourself up for overwhelm. You set yourself up for frustration. And you start to feel that things aren't within your control because you have given that control away to the thing that you are avoiding. And think about this. It's also dishonoring the gift of time that God has given you and me. Let me say it again. It's dishonoring the gift of time that God has given you and me. We're to make the most of the time that God has given us, right? Making the best use of time. Let that sit in your spirit for a bit. So, how do we break the habit? Because it is a habit and behavior of procrastination. Well, first of all, recognize it for what it is. Call it out. When you start procrastinating, recognize it. Acknowledge it. I'm just procrastinating. Matter of fact, I had to say that to myself this week. I'm just procrastinating. Let's just get this done. Secondly, I want you to breathe, because sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, procrastination is a symptom of anxiety. So breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Do not be anxious about tomorrow, right? Realize that this is within your control. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, right? This is within your control. Realize that if it is before you, it is something that you can and do, and that you have the ability to do. Set realistic goals. Set realistic goals. And that will counteract avoidance. Sometimes we avoid things because we just put too much on our plate, or we avoid things because we're just being unrealistic. Set realistic goals. Goals should be specific, they should be timely, they should be achievable, they should be measurable, realistic. Set realistic goals. Next, minimize your distractions. Minimize your distractions. I know, in the age of social media is a big distraction, and it's very tempting. But if you're on social media all the time, you're not getting done what needs to get done. So minimize distractions. Minimize the phone. Put it on silent when you have something to do, something that needs your focus. I know, and actually, speaking of focus, Apple has this new thing, Focus, and they have focus for work time, focus for sleep time, focus for personal time. You set the limits and the time periods and what you're going to allow in during those times. But that is a great tool for those of you who have iPhones. Next, be intentional. Be intentional. When we talked about goals, and smart, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely, be intentional about those goals, but make sure that part of being realistic is what you can achieve during the time period. Once you set that goal, break that goal down into steps. Break it into small pieces. And you can tick off those steps as you go along. And that will reinforce your feeling of achievement. So be intentional about reaching your goals, and make sure you break those goals down into small pieces. And lastly, and you probably don't really think about this when you think about procrastination, is self-care. Get adequate sleep and nutrition. I know I can speak for myself. When I am tired, I tend to put things off. And I'm less disciplined when I'm tired. When I'm hungry, I will drop things on a dime to go get something to eat. And sometimes I do recognize, sometimes I use eating as a distraction. Be mindful of that also. So self-care is a big piece of that too, because adequate sleep and nutrition, they help with your mental abilities, your thought processes, your productivity. So make sure that you're getting adequate sleep and nutrition. Letting go the things that do not serve us. And procrastination doesn't serve you, because it leads to just piling up on top of what already needs to be done, which leads to overwhelm and frustration. And as we discussed, it also is dishonoring the gift that God has given you and me. And that is the gift of time. Letting go of that which doesn't serve you. Procrastination. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Let me know, drop in the comments, what do you struggle with? What are you determined to let go this year in 2022? What are you determined to let go that doesn't serve you? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. Thank you again, everyone, for joining me. I am Monique White of Triumph Services. And here in the Chrysalis Effect, we are transforming mind, money, and manifestation. As always, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me and schedule a free discovery call by clicking the link or going to the link that is scrolling along the bottom of your screen, or you can connect with me on all my social media channels at Triumph, TriumphSVCS, and that is again at Triumph Services on all my social media channels. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an absolutely blessed day, and I will see you back here next week here in the Chrysalis Effect. Bye bye now.